Now, the good thing is that when you are able to kind of understand how to use the mixer or any mixer, it's almost like learning a language. Not as hard, definitely, but once you kind of understand all the buttons, they're all kind of the same on every mixer. So there's also the benefit of like getting an interface that is a mixer, if you're willing to kind of splooge out a little bit, kind of like this one. Or I can connect everybody individually onto the computer, hit record. I can level everybody out afterwards. I can cut some chop. I can do a retake. It's a lot easier in the long run. It just saves you time. But if you want to start getting a smaller 2-1 channel, it'll do the job for sure. It's gonna take more time. So we talk about like, all right, so now you have your program, you kind of know how to use it, and then we talked about audio, and now we talk about MIDI a little bit. So coming up with ideas, very tough. Not really. Coming up with ideas is honestly a matter about you just sitting down and doing it. A lot of this is similar to doing anything. You just have to sit down and show up, You gotta go to the gym if you want to, see the results of the gym. You have to, go to school if you want to get your, So showing up is half the battle. Once you do kind of, get situated with everything, what I think to kind of get you like a good process in the production side of things is make a bunch of sounds. If this is your first time with it, make a bunch of stuff. Make a little drum loop here. Make a whole project where it's just like random stuff all over the place. Get familiar where the location of all of your instruments and sounds are in the DAW, okay? Get the sense of where your metronome is. Get a sense of where your files are kept. That's a big one. All right, get a sense of pretty much anything you can going forward. But if you're just open the first time, just make a bunch of noise and make another project. Make too much noise and make another project. What you're doing here is you're just getting experience. You don't have to like make your symphony right now. You don't have to, make this number one golden hit right now. And if that's what you're thinking, it's only gonna lead you to some like disappointment, because it's going to take longer than that. And this should be fun, okay? So have fun, okay? You're making music. This is a pleasure. This shouldn't feel like work, So have fun with it. So you can throw some audio loops in, you can usually some DAWs will have preset loops you can throw in and have a ball, and then you can play some MIDI loops on top of it. And then you might even get something that's halfway decent done, without doing any other crazy hard steps. It might not be the craziest, most professional sounding thing, but you'll get there, But it's just being able to, I think the best step and the first step with what you're doing in a DAW is just have an idea and then have fun with it, and then play with the tools there. It's the best analogy I think I'll use is like, it's very similar to pottery almost, You shouldn't hop on the pottery wheel and try to just like carve out this beautiful, amazing, intricate vase and then get mad when you don't, when you start throwing putty all over the place because you really don't have the experience yet to just take your time with it and know what you're doing. So just start off slow, make a little ashtray, and then it's going to be great, So take your time, have fun, don't get frustrated. But what I started to do, now let's say if you're already playing an instrument, the songwriting process is definitely going to be tailored to the instrument that you're playing. So you're probably not going to make your idea on whatever DAW you're using if you're playing an instrument. Usually your guitarist, I had this riff, it goes like this, and the breakdown goes like this, and this and that, and then you get with your other people, and then some magical thing will happen. This, on the production side, is a very lonely aspect of you just going through your library. knowing your library is so key to you not wasting a bunch of time, but most of the beginning time is you're going to go through your folders and be like, what the hell is this? Yeah. Big pro tip, if you're an Ableton user, okay, a lot of pretty much, in the basic versions, you get bare bones. But what I found in my time with Ableton is everything is low-key there. And a lot of the sounds, they may sound a little zappy. They may sound a little Game Boy-y. They may sound like you're playing in an old Atari. They may sound like just weird, just uncomfortable. Don't give up on those sounds. A lot of them have, like, pretty much in the corner here, a basic set of knobs that you can twist around, even if you don't know what they mean. You can twist around. Be careful. Twist slowly. And you might get something that you didn't expect, and it might sound something better. And again, this is just a basic recommendation for when you're first kind of getting into things. But moving forward, yeah, if you're any type of instrumentalist or, even the vocalist too, you're probably going to write down a song that you like. You're going to write down some lyrics. You already got a ha, but even bass lines, you just boom, 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 boom. So somebody will come up with the idea, it'll milk its way together. But what if you don't have people to kind of blend this idea together with? This is where the modern day production element comes into play. You can make whatever sound you want. If you kind of have it in your head, you have this real good idea, and you're like, I got it. I got this whole ton thing, but I got no one else to play it. You can find the drums. You lay down what you got. Put the idea down on paper. Take it from here, put it in there, and then there's probably enough tools in here to help. But talking about I don't want to say tools too much because I feel like there's huge controversy if you say these instruments are all tools. But I'm going to use a lot of the devices in DAWs as tools, as if you were like building a house. So when you're getting into DAW and you've already talked about, if you've already kind of mastered MIDI audio, you're messing around with ideas, then I think you should get familiar with what the DAW can now do for you. What features of the DAW are going to kind of help you with your process. Because it's great to kind of sit there for, maybe a week or so making these crazy, like, ding, dong, dong, ding. But now you should start to focus on, okay, how do I figure out what is what about this DAW? So after you've spent some time, making a bunch of fart noises for about a week, or even less, try to get familiar with the effects, the EQ, the effects. I'm just going to say effects. I'm not even going to get anywhere. Get familiar with the effects. What is a plugin, and what other things is special about the DAW you're using. So, and where they're located, like how does all this work? So, now real quick, a plugin is basically just another program, right? You'll have your DAW, which is your primary program. It's running the thing, right? And then it'll run another application in the back. I think that's the best way to call it, right? Your iPhone will be running iOS, and then it runs an application with inside of it. But that application is like its own thing. It is its own program within a program is the best way to call it. So it's a program within your DAW that opens up separately. This plugin may be made with or for your DAW, or it may be a third party. Okay, but basically it's a program within a program. Once a plugin, most likely 9 times out of 10 a program with a program. Now they're gonna hear words like what VT, VST, waves, universal audio is, and these are big. Like, I don't want to get too deep in this because I'm still trying to keep this in like a conversation. Like if I was just talking to someone just right off the rip of like getting into this. There's some big words involved, but at the end of the day, it's just a program within a program. These programs are either going to give you more sounds, or they're going to manipulate your sound to benefit you in some type of way. They're going to do something to your project or your track or your instrument, whatever, or it's just another sound engine that you need. You need more sounds, or you need something to clean up the sounds that you have. And it's just an additional program. So that's a plugin. So your program's going to have plugins, and then it will have effects, and it'll have even effects for audio and MIDI, you know? So these are another thing to kind of get yourself suited with. But more than likely, 9 times out of 10 should be used like frosting on your sound, if that makes any sense, you know? But you're open to experiment, you know? Now, knowing what your audio effects do is very important. This is like knowing what your tool belt, the tools in your belt, do if you're a carpenter. You need to know what this miter saw does. You need to know what this hammer does. You need to know how to properly use a socket wrench. It's just they're all going to do different things, and there's some of them used for specific jobs, and then some of them you have to use all the time, you know, and it makes you think like, why isn't always on there? Because, you know, you kind of have to tailor towards ear, you know. So getting to know your effects is going to be crucial. And I think when you first get into the game, you're going to encounter a lot of people that are like, okay, I use this, I grab this, and I use this, and I grab this. And the best analogy that I could like say for like my carpenter guys out there, and I'm not a carpenter, but it's like if I came to you and I was like, hey, I'm building this here a small little barn. He goes, okay, I use a Milwaukee saw blade, okay, and then I use all DeWalt drills, okay, and then afterwards, what I do is I go over to the Lennox guy and I make sure that he's got the best blades for me. And then what else do I do? And it's just very brand specific for a specific job. But at the end of the day, some of these plugins that you hear about, that people will tell you about, are either going to be already in your DAW. There's going to be a form of it. There's going to be something that does that exact thing. Maybe it doesn't sound as good. Okay, fine. But it's still the same tool, you know? Maybe it's not this snap-on screwdriver. It's still a screwdriver, and you already have one. So why are you going to buy a fancy screwdriver right now? So, this is my opinion if you're just getting started. Maybe don't overwhelm yourself with all of these plugins right now. And I think there's a big market out there for people to just be like, hi, my name is so-and-so. This is what I use. Bam, 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 bam. You slow down with that. Slow down. You just bought the program here that you're still learning, and now you're going to pick up another program that you got to learn too. We'll get there. You'll get there. If you need it, you'll know when you need these things. Something will make sense, and then you will research what you need, and then it will come into play. I don't think anybody goes into Home Depot and they're like, let me get all of these fucking tools, because I think I bought a house. I think I'm going to need all of them. I don't think that's the best thing to do. I think there's people that definitely do that, but maybe start, slow. But this is my advice, you got your house. There's already things in there. Maybe, you got your DAW. There's already things in there, So tread lightly. So plugins are plugins. They're great. But anyway, me personally, there are plugins that I use. I'm not going to go into it right now. But I do like to kind of use what I got in here, especially if there's some of them that I'm like, man, this ain't bad. It works. And it also doesn't overload my computer as much. And that's a whole other thing too. Getting familiar with your computer. Your computer is like your truck, man. It's like your race car. You gotta know what's under the hood. You don't have to prepare these things, but you need to know, if I go buy a truck, I kind of want to know what engine is inside of it, especially if I'm using that truck to work or to do something that's crazy. Because when you're using your DAW, when you're running music software, especially when you have a lot of audio and more plugins and a lot of these things, it tends to build up on your computer. It's similar to okay, I have this truck, right? All right, I have a trailer. Cool. Your truck's pulling a trailer. Your truck can pull a trailer. Easy. It's a truck, right? Then you start putting things on that trailer, and your truck's like, oh my God. And then you're down here, and then your truck is eventually carrying the weight of 3 trucks its size. And then it's dragging ass on the highway, and then it kills 9. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it just, that's the best analogy I can get, is like, you have to know how powerful your thing is, and you cannot be loading this thing up. The good thing is a lot of DAWs have meters, and if you're a guy that, like, you know, you first get into this and things are crashing, okay, I'm sorry, I should have probably told you in the beginning that you need to make sure that your computer can hang with this thing, man. You know, like I said, it's the truck analogy is great because you're gonna be hauling some load, dude. You know, especially if you keep adding plugins, especially if you keep putting more effects on. You know, things are gonna start to just jump up, dude. So know your computer. The specs are always getting better every year, so obviously, just going with something newer is better. I think it's good to see if you can talk to somebody that sells these things, and they'll give you a whole earload. I don't think, I kind of know it just, but I'm not going to be like, you need to get this, you need to get this. You need to get yourself familiar with how to purchase a computer. Because I think also that'll do you some financial good if you know what you need and know what you don't need, you know. Maybe going with something used that can kind of hang, you know. Do you need to go to the dealership and you need to take out a loan to buy this brand new? Maybe not. Maybe you can get something refurbished, because a lot of this stuff can kind of hang, but keep in mind the long game, short game. You know, it's tough. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just giving you my just here, you know. It's all up to you, but things are possible. Even if you don't have a computer or the means to get one right now, you clearly got a phone, you're rocking it on here. Man, there are some DAWs. You can garage band it if you got the iPhone. Get you by. You know, there's some other ones that'll just kind of breezy get you by. But that's a great place to start too, GarageBand. If you're watching this and you have, you know, it's kind of weird. It's a weird layout, but it's got everything you need. You know, you can make a quick little and then save those ideas. If they don't work out, you just have like the melodies and loops. You can use those later on when you get Logic, you know, and you can even just export right onto there. It's pretty cool. But great place to start if you don't. Anywhere else, you know, if you don't, play drums. Get some bongos. There's always something, man. Yeah, there's always something musical. Play an instrument. If you can't buy the computers, go play an instrument. If you can't play an instrument, bang on something, you know. But all right, so you got your DAW. You know what you're doing. You're familiar. You got some effects. You're rocking and you're rolling. Cool. Let's do it. Let's say you're not a musician. You say you can't play an instrument. That's okay. That is totally fine nowadays. There's tons, like I said, there's tons of loops and samples, but maybe you should just get yourself familiar with the MIDI keyboard. Like I said, you can play simple loops. You can kind of start building a frame of reference of what is what, and you can slowly start teaching yourself. You can also teach yourself, you know, if you're going to get into production, maybe just learning piano a little bit. We're talking a class at a community college probably would be like my recommendation, you know, or even if you're in, you know, high school, take a little piano course. Just know where middle C is, you know, and a little theory, you know, if you want, you know. But I think that'd be a great instrument to pick up to produce. When you also get good, you can even accompany, you know, if you want to get really nice at it. But most of the time, a lot of the devices that are tailored to help you produce are key-based. Everybody, Rocky came to join us. He doesn't know where he wants to sit. He's fucking confused. Here, come on. Come over. What's up? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? He's so cute. But But basically what I would say is my production process when I'm trying to create, because now, like, if you've learned all this, you can start to kind of get some things together. Huge debate on you know what, I think I gotta go feed my cat. We'll pick this up next time, but thanks. Do the thing that they tell you to do when you watch videos like these. Really helps. Stay tuned for the next one.